welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. For the web, this is, if you don't know, this is premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, oh, Jesus Christ. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Hey, I messed up that intro, but I will not be I'd not be taking this back. I ran this theme song. I was so excited. I said, yeah, you haven't done a podcast in a week. It's time. It's time to just go with the flow. Welcome back in. You might notice if you're not listening to the Constitutionals feed, this is also under the Late Night Lately feed. Unfortunately, I was unable to record last week. I had to make a decision. Either I was going to leave roughly on time, which I did not, for a trip, an already planned trip to a wedding that was about 4 hours away, or I was going to do a podcast that, quite frankly, not a lot of people listen to. So I decided to go with the former. And a couple of days ago, I thought, God, I have to do this Late Night Lately. I can't just leave. I can't leave the phone off the hook. I got to, just have to go. I have to just go ahead and record it. And I thought, I have to write jokes. So here's the deal. This is the Constitutionals podcast, episode 383. I'm going to talk about, in honor of Late Night Lately, episode 99, I'm going to be talking about Colbert, the final week and the final episode. There's not going to be a monologue. Usually, if you don't listen to Late Night Lately, there's a monologue. I write a couple of jokes. They're mildly funny, and it's just me laughing at them. Nothing else. So I'm not doing jokes, even though I had setups previously written. I have 5 great setups. I'm looking at the monologue right now. Oh man, I already had 1 joke written. No, I didn't. Never mind. I had the setup and then I had the skeleton of a punchline. I might save some of these. We'll see what happens next week. All right. So the first Late Night Lately will get the first, 15 minutes of this. So they'll get this. They'll get this general thing. Okay, let's move on, and then I'll cut the audio after I stop talking about Colbert, because that's a late night thing. So let's get into the late night stuff. As we all know, Stephen Colbert is no longer on the airwaves. Well, he's on the public airwaves. After he left, I'll jump ahead to Monday. Was it? No, he left on Friday evening, I think, or Friday afternoon. When his show went off there, he went on like some public GPB. I'm going to say like a PBS station, essentially. And he hosted a late night style show there. It's a very funny joke to do. It is a very funny joke to do. I thought that was so funny. I did not watch it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea. But anyway, his final week was, I would say, a banner week for television. It really stunk, even though I know I've spoken a lot about how I don't think a lot of the jokes were funny. and the things that I think that there's too many applause breaks, but he should not have been taken off the air. So that Monday show was the worst of the late show, and essentially what it was Stephen Colbert eating his lunch in front of his staff as they went through old bits and pieces of the show that they could never figure out how to work. Quite frankly, when he started eating, I said, I'm done watching. So I started skipping throughout the episode. But you can watch the whole episode on YouTube. They put out an extended version of that. Also, you can see that his staff is not very diverse, as I knew. He shouldn't have been canceled, but he hired a lot of white guys. What else happened on the second day? He sat down with Jon Stewart, and then David Byrne performed, and he also spoke to Stephen Colbert. Excuse me, he spoke to Steven Spielberg. It's very interesting. This happened with Letterman. It happened with Conan, and it happened with Trevor Noah. Well, Trevor Noah just up and left. But when they're still doing their jobs. At the end of the day, they're still doing their jobs. There was a monologue on the final episode. If I were in the final week of my show, I wouldn't do topical jokes, but they were still topical. I would do some evergreen things. It makes me think about whenever SNL whenever SNL is done, and I assume that'll happen when Lauren is done or dies. There's no chance he's passing on that show while he's alive. But whenever SNL is done, do they just like do an episode? It's like Olivia Rodrigo is the musical guest, and like the host is like Jacob Elordi. It's just like two people. That's it. Because if you look at the finale of SNL proper, it felt like a season finale. SNL Vanilla, as I call it. It felt like a season finale, but it also was just a lot of a showcase of Will Ferrell. They didn't bring back any of his characters. And I'm a fool for thinking that they would do so. They had a lot of cut sketches. A lot of stuff I probably wouldn't have cut. It would have left in place of some of the very lackluster things that made it to air. And also Paul McCartney played 2 more songs. When I saw that, I was crazy. He played Help. Will Ferrell's on Cowbell. And then for SNL UK, and I promise we'll get back to Colbert, their finale felt very big and grandiose and fun because they had the help of like Louis Theroux, and Ncuti Gatwa was game for everything. And that's not to say that Will Ferrell wasn't game for everything. Don't read the comments. People are complaining that Paul McCartney sounds bad. And then I listened to the Paul McCartney album this morning, and it was good. I enjoyed it. It's not a Jim thing. That's my problem. If there's like, I love Casey Musgraves and I will marry her immediately. But it's very funny that I wake up on Friday mornings and I'll go to whomever's putting out a new album, new record, if they're on New Music Friday on NPR, or if they're on whatever list, whatever new albums are coming out, new records, I'll just download it and just listen to it. But I'll go to the gym and do it, and it just doesn't make sense because it's not great. It's not good music. Sometimes it's not good music to work out to. I can't wait to play that new Kurt Vile record though. Anyway, then there was an episode that was Bruce Springsteen and the Colbert Questionnaire. Was that the final? No, the final episode was Paul McCartney. So the Colbert Questionnaire, which it was the final one. And it featured a bunch of famous people. You can guess how many people of color were there? It's one. Jim Gaffigan, De Niro, and they were all trotted out one after another, kind of like how Letterman did his final top 10 list. Josh Brolin, Weird Al Yankovic, Billy Crystal, Mark Hamill, Martha Stewart, Jeff Daniels, Tiffany Haddish, Emmy Sedaris, Ben Stiller, Robbie Plaza, James Taylor, and John Dickerson was the moderator. If you don't know who John Dickerson is, he's an excellent news personality who was also unceremoniously let go from CBS. And Evie Colbert, his wife. And you better believe I was counting how many people of color were going to be there. It echoed how many people of color worked for him. Anyway. They also had a very interesting series finale, cold open, intro, cold open, you idiot, featuring every late night host. There's a program that the news, and I think media in general, but the news particularly works with, that you can go into that program on your computer, on the computers, on the work computers, and you can type in anything that Trump said. Like if he ever said the words, they let you do that when you're famous, which he did. You can go to this program and type that in, and then they'll find every clip of him ever saying that. And I assume that's how they found clips of Jon Stewart, John Oliver, Chelsea Handler, Andy Cohen, Jack Benny, Steve Allen, Jack Parr, and every other person who's ever hosted a late night show. From Carson to Arsenio Hall, from Joan Rivers to Jay Leno. Like truly every single person who's ever hosted a late night show. And they got them to say very nice words, like one word at a time. Like this is the final episode of Colbert Show. It was a good week. I don't know why I closed out of that, the YouTube channel. It was a good week, and it was bittersweet, and the end of it was very fun because you got to see Paul McCartney and Elvis Costello and John Baptiste came back. The only other band leader, the other person that Stephen Colbert could never get a rapport with. I hope John and Louis sat down, Louis Cato, and they sat down and said, so we never had a conversation with Colbert, right? And every time he talked to us, it seemed like it was an accident. But it ended with basically a 10-minute sketch about a wormhole opening up. It seemed like it was shot at disparate times, like throughout the past couple of weeks, because it featured different guests from the past couple of weeks. It was very funny. I enjoyed the sketch. It did not seem like the audience did, but everybody sang at the end of that Paul McCartney song, and then they all disappeared into a wormhole. It was very funny, very engaging. Now let's get on to this piece of business. This comes from NPR, written by Eric Deggans, friend of the show, Eric Deggans. I interviewed him a couple of years ago. Interesting. Here's an interesting thing about him. He spoke for so long that he went over the 40-minute limit I had for Zoom. The meeting ended. I called him back immediately. I emailed. I was like, please. And he goes, I guess I talked for too long. And I was like, no, it's fine. We keep going. Literally in that last minute, I had my wallet in front of me trying to buy more time with Zoom. For 20 years, Stephen Colbert distinguished truth from truthiness. Now, this is just a wide encompassing coverage piece about Stephen Colbert's legacy on television. 20 years, more than 3,000 episodes, 2 TV networks. Everything from The Daily Show to The Colbert Report to this. You should definitely check it out. I think it's an interesting piece. If you don't know anything, then you'll learn something. You'll learn that what Colbert was trying to tell his audience, that he's more than just the Colbert Report. But I think his legacy will probably be the Colbert Report. It was a show, and it's the only one successful one to do it. It was a show to, like, the only one to popularly, successfully lampoon what Fox News has done. Jordan Klepper does technically do that at The Daily Show now, but his spinoff did not succeed for a reason, because it was too real. It was way too real at that point. Whereas the Colbert Report, it felt like it was a cartoon of an already cartoon thing. And then for Jordan Klepper's show, it was just, when when they spun that off from the Daily Show, it was just way too much for the populace. You know what? It still is. They can never find something to follow up the Daily Show with. I still think they should do the nightly show. It's too late, though. Bring it back. Bring back the nightly show. Anyway, Colbert's going to be fine. Unfortunately, it seems that the Comics Unleashed hour that Byron Allen now it's already premiered. Well, the show's been going on, but he already premiered in that time slot. It seems that hour is already doing what CBS wants it to do. In that, it's not costing them a dime. Allen is selling the ad time, and they've already recouped $15 million, which is just proves that's all they wanted. That's all what they wanted. All right, that's it for this episode of Late Night Lately / The Constitutionals. So I'll be moving on to the Constitutionals part, and yeah, that's it. Do I do the ending part here and then just move on to the Constitutionals? No, I'm just gonna end it right here. Okay, Chad, when you're editing this, don't cut this out. End it now. Okay, welcome back to the Constitutionals. Oh, I could have done the incidental music. Where is that? That's too late. I'm not doing it. It's too much work. It's too much work. We know where the ending was. Maybe I'll put it in post. I still have to cut a video from it too. Okay, welcome back. I did, in fact, go to that wedding last week. I had a very lovely time. Like I said, I was late. I was late already. I was so behind. I wanted to leave at noon. I ended up leaving at 2. I picked up the car. I had to rent a car. The issue with my car is just it's not ongoing, and thankfully, but my mother was very worried, so I had to rent a car. And I rented a Jeep Compass. That's what they gave me at the Enterprise there in Buckhead. So I packed everything up. I took the car down. I got there at like 6 p.m. I hit a lot of traffic on the way out of Atlanta. Coming back on Sunday, excuse me. Coming back on Sunday, I hit a lot of rain, but barely any traffic. And I was only 1 minute behind schedule. Like I said, all right, I think I'm going to get home at 4:30. Like all weekend, I'm like, I think I'm going to get home at 4:30. I think I'm going to get home at 4:30. I got home at 4:31. Also, my Uber driver, I had to take a lot of Ubers. But my Uber driver coming from Buckhead back to the area of Atlanta in which I live, East Atlanta. East Atlanta. Coming back to my Midtown, coming back to my neighborhood. He was one of the most insane drivers ever. Like, he was cutting people off when people were getting off at exits. He was one of those drivers coming from like 3 lanes over, cutting people off and like putting my life in jeopardy. And then, you get into the conversations like, what do you do for work? And then I don't have a lie yet. Oh my gosh, I need a lie because I hate telling people that I'm in the entertainment industry because 70% of the time they're like, oh, can I get a job? There's one guy years ago when I moved to this apartment. There was one guy that worked at, I had to return equipment because my last apartment, I could only get like Xfinity or something. I couldn't get Google Fiber. So I had to return my Xfinity equipment because I have Google Fiber now. And the guy at the Xfinity place, which I think is now closed on Ponce, is now was asking, like, he's like, oh, what do you do? He's like, oh, I've always wanted to, I make this and I do this and blah, blah, blah. And then I was working at EW Scripts, Bounce TV at the time. And I said, all right, well, just give me your email and I'll see if we have any open positions. This is something I'll never do again. And he gave me his email. It was like toonsquad6 at AOL.com. We had open positions, and he also sent me his resume, and there was just it was just one of the most poorly written, horrible resumes. and I remember I shared it with the HR person, who also lied to me when I was. A lot of people lied to me when there was a downsizing at Script after Scripps bought Bounce TV, and then they just cut a lot of jobs and replaced everything with I assume AI tools. That's when I learned that HR people aren't there to help you. Anyway, okay, so at the wedding, I went there. Then we had on Friday night there was a drinks thing, and then basically we all went out after the fact and partied a little bit. On Saturday morning, I already had a plan. I said I'm going to wake up. I did yoga. When I got there on Friday at 6, I did yoga because at 6:30 I laid down for a quick nap, took a shower. Also, my Airbnb stunk. It was bad. It was a bad Airbnb. Everything felt dirty, but I didn't spend a lot of time there. I just essentially slept there. Saturday morning, I woke up. I went for a run down by the waterfront. I was south of Forsyth Park, which is like the big main park there. So I was able to essentially, as I was alone, if I wasn't doing wedding stuff, I was essentially just able to walk everywhere because I didn't want to move the car and I didn't want to drive downtown or in the city-ish area, whatever. So I was able to walk a block or two to Forsyth Park. I started a jog and I did like a little city tour. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be 6 or 7 miles of me just like trudging through city streets. But no, I was able to run through the park, go and see historical sites and take pictures and go by the waterfront. The waterfront was far. It was maybe, I think I ran like 5 miles total, but it was maybe like 2.5 miles from me. And at that point I was just like, I was always stopping to watch and like taking pictures and everything. So I hung out by the waterfront for maybe 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes of just like me starting to run, stopping, taking pictures, shooting video. And then I made it back to the house I was in. And then took a shower. Also, this is crazy. Friday night. I can't believe I remembered that. I forgot about this. Friday night, I was with the friends, and then we stayed out till like 1:30, and then it just ended up with me. It's being me and this other guy that I went to high school with, and then he was like, "I'm hungry. Let's go to this place. It's called Spudnik, and it was a baked potato place. It's still open at 1:30 in the morning. So we go to Spudnik, and they take a little bit longer to cook our food. It was fine. We don't start. We actually no. Here's what happens. We take one bite, and then she goes, like, "Do you guys want to go?" It was already in to-go containers, but we were like, I think we're just going to leave because it was like 1:30 in the morning. So then we leave. I walk my friend back to his hotel, and then I walk a couple of blocks, and I hop in an Uber. And as soon as I hop in, and I'm not kidding when I say this, as soon as I hop in an Uber, we drive 1 block, and I see on my right, there's 3 guys yelling, grabbing at their waist. And then across the street, there's 2 guys doing the same thing. And then I think nothing of it. I have my hot potato, loaded baked potato. It was loaded to the gills. I took 1 bite, and I was like, this is good. I got to close it up. I can't eat this too late. It's too late to eat. And also it cost $17 plus tip. It's ridiculous. But I felt bad for that young lady working there, so I tipped her. Anyway, I felt bad because she was working there so late. She was really nice. Cool little punk rock chick, pixie cut, tattoos. I was like, we could be buddies. Anyway, so we're driving, and those guys are right there. And then not 2 or 3 seconds later, I like, without exaggeration, pop, 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 pop. And I'm in the car. I go, and then the woman driving me looks in the rearview mirror, and then we both just go, mm-hmm. And then she starts speeding past lights, and the cars next to us, they're speeding past lights. Everybody's running lights, and the shots are still going. And then police immediately. Oh my God. It was the most wild thing. Oh, it started to rain. I have I'm going to a show tonight at 10 p.m. It's a podcast recording for the Doughboys podcast. It is within biking distance, but I was talking to somebody at the gym this morning, and we were talking about all the rain that's been happening. And he was like, "You're going to take an Uber." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." Smash cut to it's pouring rain outside. So we heard those gunshots and we just went, and then the rest of the ride was just like, she's like, "I'm so scared. I moved here and from this country, and I just wanted, I thought it'd be safe and blah blah, but there's always shootings. This is so dangerous, so scary." And I'm like, "Honey, I hear you." And she dropped me off, and I put my potato in the fridge, and I just went to bed immediately. So anyway, I went for the run by the waterfront, and then after I got back home, I had that potato as a late breakfast thing, and then I immediately, after I showered, went back out there, walked back downtown to exactly places where I ran. Oh yeah, there was a farmer's market in the park, and I went to that after I ran. I carried my shirt with me. I took my shirt off because it was so hot, but also I look amazing. And I put it back on. I started walking through the farmer's market. I got a watermelon juice, $9. I bought some, I want to say Korean pastries from a lady. It was like $18 for just two things. And then I needed the watermelon juice because the Airbnb had no water, and I only had what was in. I bought a giant Yeti essentially with me. Yeah, it was a Yeti. I don't know why I said essentially. I bought a giant Yeti bottle with me, and I all I had was the water from that I didn't drink on the way up, which was a lot, but still, it wasn't enough to hydrate me. So I had to buy that watermelon juice, and no one else was selling anything. There was coffee, but no one else was selling like any type of hydrating thing. So I might as well have bought the watermelon juice. It was fine. And I get back home after, and then, so I go through after the showering and everything. I go back out, go back downtown. I go to 3 museums. I try to go to the American Prohibition Museum. I go to the gift shop instead. I walk in and I go, "This museum fucking blows." I'm like walking around, like, they sell shot glasses, but where's the museum? I go, "It's free to walk in." And eventually I go, "This sucks. I'm going to go to a different museum." So I go roughly a 30-minute walk away to the Railroad Museum. I think it's like the Georgia Railroad Museum. And it was at that point when I pull out my phone. I did not do this when I was at the American Prohibition Museum gift shop. I pulled out my phone and I go, "Was that really the museum or the gift shop?" I pull out my phone, and I'd essentially gone to the wrong place. And I went, "Well, I'm not going back. I'm not walking back in that direction." So I went to the Railroad Museum, and I this is very sad. I took a little tour by myself, and then they had a little choo-choo ride tour that was like 30 minutes long, 20 minutes. No, it was like 30 minutes long because it started at 3:30. And it was the last one of the day, and they took me out it, like the rail yard. It was big if you were going to walk it, but once you get on that train, the train tour, they put you on a turnstile. They truly drove it all the way around this small area, but it was pretty effective. And I learned things, and I'm like sitting there nodding at the guy. He's like looking at me. And there was like families. There was 30 some odd people on this train, and then there's me just like sitting by myself, taking up an entire bench because I didn't want anybody to look at me or talk to me or sit next to me. But I'm listening to the guy nodding the entire time. And then right next door was the Savannah History Museum, so I decided to go to that. And then what was the other museum? I went to the SCAD Museum. That because I had to walk across town for that one, and then that was like right next door to everything. So to those other two, the American Bureau, and then I once I was in because the Savannah History Museum was the last one I was in. Once I was in there, and I knew I did not have any more time to go to any more museums, I went, "You know what? This is the better one," because I would have paid $20 to get into the Prohibition Museum. To essentially just see whatever was pictured on the Google reviews. Uh, the Savannah History Museum, it was in disrepair. They were in the middle of fixing some things up. They were fixing up a bunch of the exhibits. And so they asked just for a donation. And I said, well, since it's so late in the day, I'm going to give you, and like they typically charge like $12. I was like, it's late in the day and you're about to close up. And half of the exhibits are gone. I'll give you $6. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. She's like, I don't give a shit. Just go. So I walked around for 3 hours at all three of those museums. I did not stop anywhere else. I wanted to stop somewhere for a late lunch, but that potato was just so heavy and filling. Then I went to the wedding, and then we hung out pretty much all night. And then Sunday there was a brunch. It kept raining on and off. Then I came back home. I have one more story before I get to whatever stuff I have on the docket. Why is my email open? Oh, I have packages. I have to go get them. This is yesterday morning. Today's Friday, May 29th. Thursday, May 28th. I've already told this story so many times to different people, and each time I've got the same the same response. I leave for the gym at like 4:45, 4:50 in the morning. And I was driving, and I walk out to my garage, and I hear music playing, just loud music playing, from a car. I know it's from a car, obviously. It's just bouncing off the walls of the garage, and I think, oh, it's probably an Amazon driver because now they do like 4 a.m. Package deliveries, which is I never choose that. I'll choose 7 a.m. though. But I was like, I assume it's just that, or maybe it's they have like a groundskeeper guy that comes around here at like 4:30 in the morning. It's wild. He comes at like 4. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm on my treadmill, but I do see him, and he must think, oh, that guy's insane. Or it must be the never seen off-duty police officer that's the security guard. I've only seen him twice in the past 2 weeks, and that's just because we've had some incidents. Anyway, I'm leaving, and I go down a floor, and I see the car in question. It's a Honda CRV. The lights are on, and music's playing out of it, and the trunk is open. And I think nothing of it. I often see people, like this morning when I was on the treadmill, there's a guy, I assume, going to the airport. But I assumed it was somebody going to the airport. They walked by my storage unit, and he double take it. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm running. Anyway, this is gonna be a long episode. I think nothing of it. I go to the gym. I come back. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The trunk is still open. The lights are still on. The radio is still blasting, and I go, well, no one's going to do anything about this. It's time for the Deputy Woody, Sheriff Woody to run in down there. I'm not a deputy. I'm a goddamn sheriff. So I park my car and I walk downstairs and I'm just thinking, please don't be a dead body. Don't be something serious. And I walk over to the car and it is a woman. If you're watching the video, you're going to see exactly what I'm doing. It's a woman. Her hands are like in her shirt for warmth, like near her stomach, and her eyes are closed. And I think, oh my God, she's dead. And that is the first thing. And I'm knocking on the window, doesn't move. I'm like, she's dead. I'm like knocking on the window, does not move at all. I open the door, I turn off the car, I close the door, I close the trunk, and then I go, I wipe my hands of this. I go, all right, I did that. I don't know what that was, but hopefully she's okay. I walk the length of probably 3 cars before I go, oh, Jesus Christ, I have to go back and see if she's alive. Turn around. I knock, and I come back. She has changed positions. I go, thank friggin' God. I knock on the window, barely opens her eyes. I open the door, and I go, hey, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, I'm fine. And I go, okay, if you need anything, I'm in this apartment. And then she goes, cool. I'm in this apartment, and she lives like a couple of doors down from me. And I go, okay. And then I close the door, and she goes back to sleep. And I'm just like, oh my God, this woman. Oh my goodness gracious in heaven. Thank goodness she was seemingly okay. From what I can gather, like I smelled a little bit of alcohol. That's all I assume is that she was plastered and she couldn't get out of her car. But when I went to go get when Maverick and I went to the recycling center as we do on Thursdays, when I drove by her car, it was all the other cars left for work and I assumed she was gone. But she was not in the car, I mean. But the car was parked well, and I just went, good for her. Good for her. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to whatever else I have going on here. This first story, what's going on? I'm sorry, the preview video is slowing down. All right, this first story comes from Variety. It's written by Brian Steinberg. Hallie Jackson has San Francisco in sights as NBC News' streaming efforts expand in linear TV. As we've seen, and this is what I was concerned about when I saw this headline, as we've seen for not just CNN, but also Miss Now and Fox News, and now PBS NewsHour is what I'm seeing this too. The podcasting stuff that these correspondents and anchors are doing is making its way to television as a way to fill out hours and to basically be cheap entertainment. This is not something I condone. I'm not a fan of this. And it seems as time moves forward on these news platforms, we're going to see more and more of these podcasts come to television. If you look at, I do not watch this show at all. I want to continue to reinforce that. But if you look at the Barstool Sports show on FS1, I think that's what it is very much set up like a podcast. And ESPN's been doing this for years, but with ESPN radio shows. But the thing is, they established that, and there's a lot more interactivity there. It's not this idea of creating all of these fake backdrops and discussion points that podcasting has become. So Hallie Jackson, her show, Hallie Jackson Now, that live streams on NBC News Now, is going to be have a little bit of a crossover on San Francisco's KNTV, which is an NBC-owned station. It's going to be running an hour of Jackson's live stream program each weekday between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. PT. Also note that Tuesday is California's primary election. But this is just the start of it. And again, I know I was talking about podcasting, but they're pulling from the shows they already produce over at on NBC News Now. The same thing, I can only assume, as the affiliates run out of, or excuse me, as the affiliates get rid of shows, they cancel shows. Kelly Clarkson's going off the air. I assume this is a test for what could possibly happen. They'll be bringing in people like Anderson Cooper, who hosts a podcast. They'll be airing his show on CNN. Partially. Who else? Who's the woman I'm thinking about on Miss Now? What is her name? Nicole Wallace. Part of her show, part of her video podcast already airs on Miss Now. It's an interesting to see, but I'm as I'm saying, we'll see some CBS News streaming shows, I guess, at some point appear on broadcast television, because Days of Our Lives, other soap operas, daytime programming is just going by the wayside unless it has excellent ratings, or if they can produce it cheaply, then this is what's going to be happening. But that's not to say that the NBC News Now service and CBS News streaming service, streaming, streaming, they're not good. That's not to say that they're not good, but this is just a differently produced show coming to a wider audience than what is available on free streaming, than what will necessarily tune in regularly and purposefully on free streaming. As I mentioned, Nicole Wallace's video podcast, The Best People, airs weekly on Miss Now. At Nextstar's News Nation, a push into podcasting will create new hours of content that might be available for use on the linear network, according to Michael Korn, president of specials and programming. This is just what we're going to see more of, and I think it's possible for this to work and succeed, especially just starting with an hour at 2 p.m. But is it necessarily something we want to continue driving towards? Mostly because we already have outlets like CNN and Fox News and Miss Now that air news 24 hours a day, except for Saturday sometimes. When if there's no breaking news story, then we'll see on CNN, Have I Got News for You, or W. Kamau Bell's show, or the Craig Ferguson's new show. Friend of the show, Craig Ferguson. Yeah, that's right. No big deal. Have I reached out to W. Kamau Bell past couple of years for an interview? I have. But in some ways, I do think this is lazy of them to just want to put out a show like this. It's there, but should you do it? All right, let's move on. This comes from, I don't know what this is. This comes from Deadline, written by Anthony D'Alessandro. What a great name, D'Alessandro. Lionsgate joins digital feature locker, Movies Anywhere. Movies Anywhere, if you're a collector of movies, like myself, who has close to 700 movies and television shows, physically and digitally, then you are a fan of this news. Starting June 1st, this Monday, Lionsgate will be adding its library to the digital movie locker, Movies Anywhere. The studio joins those studios already in the service: Sony, Universal, Disney, and Warner Brothers Discovery. The thing of it is, here, I'll just open up Movies Anywhere. If you're watching the video, then you're going to see this. I love Movies Anywhere. I love Fandango at Home, formerly known as Vudu. What you can do is you open up Movies Anywhere, and you have access to movies that you've purchased digitally. So I have a bunch of discs, or I can buy them digitally. And you have access. You can watch them anywhere. As you can see, I have recently purchased Avatar: Fire and Ash and A Bug's Life and Mortal Kombat, the 2021. I've got Kung Fu Panda, Minions: Rise of Gru, Despicable Me 4, as well as the other Despicable Me's and Kung Fu Pandas. But it's great because now I can go to my movies. I've got 337 movies, and I can watch these at any time with no ads in the best quality, because all I do is buy 4K, baby. I can click on Wicked for Good, and I've got in 4K, and I can watch these special features that are normally only on the disc, and yeah, it's wonderful. Technically, you don't own these movies forever. They're like, it's like a license. You're spending, like, if you went and you bought the Super Mario Galaxy movie, you spend $25 essentially just to say, I have the license to watch this as long as they let me have the license, which is not something I'm a huge fan of. Because with physical, I can just, as long as I have a device that can play the disc, then I can just watch it. Anyway, this is great. This is great news, though. Lionsgate has been a holdout for years. Disney started Movies Anywhere, because I believe it started as like Disney Movies Anywhere. But Disney started Movies Anywhere as a way for people to watch their movies, as long as they bought them and owned them. And then it slowly expanded. If you buy a movie on iTunes, or Apple TV now. If you buy a movie on Apple TV that's Movies Anywhere compatible, then it opens up and you can watch it on Movies Anywhere. You can watch it on Fandango at home. You can watch it on Prime Video. It's great. I love it. I love Movies Anywhere. I wish we could. I understand why, because they don't want file sharing, but I wish I could just download the files and everything. Anyway, this is going to be a slow launch phase because Lionsgate has a lot of movies. However, so it's going to last through early 2027. However, they are coming out of the gate with a lot of fantastic movies that A, I own, and B, are popular. We've got Kill Bill, Knives Out, La La Land, the Hunger Games franchise, which I just did recently buy, John Wick, which I love, all the John Wick movies I love and I own. A lot of Quentin Tarantino movies, Django Unchained, I said Kill Bill, and Reservoir Dogs. All those movies I own. I already own all those movies digitally. And they're stuck on Apple TV or Fandango at home. But now, come Monday, these are going to be available everywhere. It is going to be tough because I do have to make new playlists. I have a John Wick playlist that has John Wick 1 through 4 and Ballerina. I will never watch The Continental because Mel Gibson's in it. You know what's interesting? The Onion put out a Michael Jackson story, and I chose to read the comments because I'm insane. And people are defending Michael Jackson like crazy. They're like, he was acquitted. He was innocent until proven guilty. Like, Jesus Christ, really? This is why I don't trust people. Movies Anywhere is perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but Movies Anywhere is great. Use it. I love it. This is a good move. Hopefully Paramount does this too. People will buy movies, but a lot of people don't want to be stuck in one thing. And if they are stuck in one thing, then they'll choose the company that they love the most. Because you can buy F1 anywhere, but you can't watch F1 anywhere. When I bought the disc for F1, I could only redeem it on Apple TV. So if I want to watch F1 digitally, I have to use my iPad or use the Apple TV app I can't use my phone. That's right. Well, it's on Apple TV, the streaming service, but I don't want to do it. Anyway. But now come Monday, La La Land is going to be treated in the same way that the Minions movies are. I can watch Minions on Apple TV. I can watch it on Fandango at home. I can watch it on Prime because my account is linked to all that stuff. I just rewatched Minions 2 and Minions. I just rewatched Despicable Me 2 and Despicable Me 3. Despicable Me 2 is not as bad as I remembered. There is at the end when they sing that Boyz II Men song. Oh my God! I laugh so hard. It's I swear. I swear. I laugh so hard every single time. It is so funny. Next up, this comes from Business Insider, written by James Ferris. Disney is preparing for a world without the Hulu app. This week, there was was it this week or last week? Last week, Disney started this combining of profiles thing, where a couple of years ago, Disney made people combine their Hulu and their Disney profile. So they wanted just like one Disney logon so that you use that Disney logon for ESPN and Disney Plus and Hulu or whatever Disney product. Now they took it further by making the Hulu profile the same as the Disney Plus profile so that when eventually they roll Hulu into Disney Plus, it'll be easier for people to have that. So now the watch history is available on the Hulu watch history is available on Disney Plus, and your watch list as well. And I got the notification. Today's Friday. I think I got it Wednesday. It's just so strange to see The Shield. Do you want to continue watching The Shield next to, I can't think of a Disney show. Oh, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I am in the middle of rewatching Chippendale Rescue Rangers and DuckTales. DuckTales original. It's great. I love reliving my childhood. I love rewatching those shows. It's just so fun. I love watching DuckTales as an adult, just like seeing the stuff, especially being in the industry now, just like seeing the stuff they do. I've the like the freedom that they had back then. I was thinking, I rewatch shows a lot. I rewatch shows and movies a lot on top of watching new stuff. And as I grow deeper into my career and I continue to rewatch shows like How I Met Your Mother, which is one of my favorite shows ever, I can see how little money they had. Or as I watch new shows, like new-ish shows, like Bob Hearts Abishola. It's a show I do really like. It's a really funny show. It's really good. Or Ghosts. Why am I naming only CBS shows? Animal Control. The Fall and Rise of Reg Dinkins. As I watch these shows, I can see how little money they had and the things that they do to skirt around it. And just like having this insider knowledge of like the things that I've seen or the things that I've worked on, just seeing, how they make a back lot in California look like New York. And it's very convincing. Or just how they work their way around jokes or playing music, getting music licensing. It's fascinating. I love it. Anyway, but this Business Insider piece references a screenshot of an internal Disney streaming document that outlines a multi-phase plan called Project Gemini, that is not named after Google's AI assistant, to bring Hulu's content and features to Disney Plus. The unified experience, Business Insider James writes, is expected to be completed by year's end, according to the document and 2 streaming employees. They want essentially to have the Hulu tech stack and the app they want everything Hulu migrated to Disney. And then eventually, the document says, the Hulu tech stack and the app will be decommissioned after all users have transitioned from that app into Disney Plus. So they're making a slow transition, which is good. If you'll remember when when they shifted from HBO Go to HBO Max, it was a whole big kerfuffle. It was an entirely new app. I'm sure people used HBO Go for as long as they could until they were forced off of that. And HBO now. 3 high-ranking Disney tech employees also said that the company is diverting resources away from Hulu and isn't adding major new features to the app anymore. There's no active development, according to a veteran streaming product employee working on Hulu said. So that means eventually they're trying to just make the Hulu app obsolete. Now, my question is, I wonder how many shows, because not everything from Hulu is available on Disney Plus at the moment. But it's not that much that is missing. I think there's only a few things. But my question is, how and when are they going to transition people who have HBO Max via that Hulu bundle with HBO Max and Disney Plus? How is ESPN going to work? Because you have access to some ESPN stuff and ESPN Unlimited. How is that going to work? At this point in time, there are still 2 different Simpsons There's 2 different Simpsons pages. One that has seasons 1 through 38, seasons 1 through 37, and then 1 through 36 because they were renewed for 40. Okay, so 1 through 36, and then one with the latest season. It doesn't make sense. How come there's not a Simpsons tile? There we go. It's nice like that Disney Plus wants to become this super app, and they want to make you do all these be able to check in on your Disney ride at the parks, doing that and everything. But it is just not something that should right now worthwhile to be able to go and see everything from Hulu on there. In fact, it doesn't feel like a super app. It feels more like a video streaming app that is a little bit ahead of where it should be. Also, I've already seen some of these shows. I've already seen This Fool. I've seen The Bear. I've seen Interior Chinatown. Stop referencing that. You should have my watch history. Oh, it shows that I watched it all. Okay, wow, interesting. That's cool. I'm scrolling through. Oh, there's Godfather of Harlem. There's The Strain. I watched a couple episodes of that. 99 to Beat. The Brave Little Toaster. Weekenders. Holy shit. Adding that to the list. I love The Weekenders. They finally added it to Disney Plus. Oh my goodness. I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that for so long. For so long, in fact, that I did search it out illegally. And that's not something I do. I can't wait to watch The Weekenders. I'm so friggin' excited. Anyway, we're going to see this slow wind down, and eventually, I assume more specific Hulu features will be coming along. Let me scan through this. A streaming staffer said Disney Plus is also slated to get more Hulu specific features, including live TV channels and the DVR. I'm having. Is Hulu itself going to be phased out at some point? Like, is Hulu the name? Is it all just going to become Disney Plus? Disney Plus with Fubo. Because they own Fubo. Will Fubo eventually be folded in there? They say it won't be, but I feel like it might. It might will. It might will be. Yeah, that's the title of this episode. All right, let's go on to the, I think I'm done. I had one more story lined up, but I think I'm done. All right, listen. If you like what you heard here, I have a show to go to. If you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. We've got a couple of interviews lined up for the future. If you want to see video versions of the interviews, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see video versions of the other podcasts, as well as this one. Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast. You can also check out those podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out video versions of the interviews under the interviews. It's great. I love it. Follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening. I promise I'll be better next week. I don't know, maybe. Bye.